Most young men aren't afraid of being alone. They're afraid of what they'll hear when the noise stops. The phone goes silent. The music turns off. Nobody's texting back. And suddenly, you're left with the one person you've been avoiding all week: yourself. For a lot of men, that's the most uncomfortable place on earth. But here's what nobody tells you. The men who learn to sit in that silence and use it become almost impossible to compete with. And the men who run from it, they stay stuck, sometimes for decades. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the difference between solitude that builds you and isolation that destroys you. And at the end, I'll give you the exact playbook for making real friends as an adult. Because that's the skill nobody teaches, and it's the one most men quietly need. Let's get into it. Picture this. It's Friday night. Your phone is silent. Nobody invited you anywhere. And a thought creeps in. Maybe I'm alone because nobody wants me around. If you've had that thought, you're not broken. Almost every man has. But that thought is built on a lie. The lie that being alone means being unwanted. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Loneliness is feeling disconnected. Solitude is choosing to be alone. They look identical from the outside. Same quiet room, same silent phone. But one drains you. The other builds you. The difference isn't your situation. The difference is whether you're hiding or training. For all of human history, greatness has required seasons of solitude. The athlete training before sunrise, the entrepreneur grinding after everyone went home, the student studying while his friends were out. Growth happens when nobody is watching, and there's a reason for that. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, notifications, entertainment, other people's opinions, your brain is always reacting, never thinking. But in silence, the real questions finally show up. What do I actually want? What kind of man am I becoming? Which of my habits are building me? And which are quietly destroying me? Those questions don't appear when you're distracted. They appear in silence. And in a generation addicted to stimulation, the man who can sit alone with his own thoughts has a genuine edge. Solitude is where you sharpen the blade. But here's where most men take a wrong turn. They discover the power of solitude, and they start worshiping isolation. You've seen it everywhere online. Cut everyone off. Disappear for years. Build your empire alone. And look, there's a grain of truth there. Sometimes you need a season of focus. Sometimes you need distance from people dragging you backward. But a season is not supposed to become a lifestyle. Because here's what the lone wolf influencers won't tell you. Researchers who studied hundreds of thousands of people found that chronic isolation damages your health on a level comparable to heavy smoking. Not your mood. Your health. Your brain treats long-term isolation as a threat, because for our entire history as a species, being cut off from the tribe meant death. You can't out-discipline your own biology. So if you've convinced yourself you don't need anyone, be honest with yourself for a second. Is that strength? Or is it armor? Because it's easier to say people are useless than to risk rejection. Easier to avoid friendship than to risk disappointment. Easier to build walls than to build relationships. But easier doesn't mean stronger. The strongest men aren't the ones who avoid connection. They're the ones who can handle it. So how do you actually balance this? Think of your life like breathing. You inhale, then you exhale. You need both, or you die. Solitude is the inhale. It's where you build your inner world. Skills. Discipline, clarity, character, connection is the exhale. It's what keeps you grounded. Friendship, loyalty, shared victories, real conversations. A man who only inhales suffocates on his own thoughts. A man who only exhales has nothing of his own to give. Anyone can disappear. Anyone can chase attention. Almost nobody masters both. That's the actual goal. Not the lone wolf, not the people pleaser. The man who chooses, deliberately, when to withdraw and build, and when to step back into the world. Now the part I promised you. How to actually make friends as a grown man. When you're a kid, friendship is automatic. School, sports, the neighborhood. Life puts people in front of you. Adulthood is different. People move. Careers consume you. And one day, you look up and realize you haven't made a close friend in 5 years. Nobody teaches you what to do about that. So here it is. First, stop chasing quantity. You don't need 100 friends. The quality of your relationships matters far more than the number. 3 real friends beat 300 followers. Every time. Second, go where repetition happens. Friendship isn't built in single meetings. It's built through repeated exposure. So put yourself somewhere you'll see the same faces every week. A martial arts gym, a sports club, a volunteer crew, a professional group, a hobby community. You're not there to make friends. You're there to train, to build, to contribute. The friendships grow on the side, which is exactly how men bond. Shoulder to shoulder, not face to face. Third, be the one who invites. This is the move that changes everything. Most men are lonelier than they'll ever admit, and almost all of them are waiting for someone else to make the first move. So be that man. Send the message. Make the call. Organize the gym session, the hike, the dinner. The man who invites is never the desperate one. He's the leader. And you'd be shocked how many guys were quietly hoping someone would ask. Fourth, give it time. Real friendship takes months of repetition, not one good conversation. Don't quit after 3 weeks because it feels slow. You're planting trees, not flowers. Now let's be completely honest about something. Most young men aren't actually afraid of being alone tonight. They're afraid of ending up alone. Never finding the right partner. Never building real brotherhood. Never living the life they imagined. If that fear has ever kept you up at night, hear this. A lonely chapter is not a lonely life. Some of the most connected, fulfilled men you'll ever meet spent years alone first. Building themselves, becoming someone worth knowing, before meeting the people who became part of their story. Your current season is not your final destination. The only question that matters is this. Right now, in your solitude, are you hiding or are you growing? One leads to isolation. The other leads to transformation. Use your alone time to become stronger. Not colder. Disciplined. Not disconnected. Use it to build the man you'd want to introduce to the world. And then, this is the part that takes real courage. Actually introduce him. So the next time it's Friday night and your phone is silent, don't assume something is wrong with you. Ask a better question. How can I use this moment to get stronger? Then, when the time comes, step back into the world. Send the invitation. Build the friendships. Take the risk. Because the strongest men were never the ones who needed nobody. They're the ones who can stand alone when necessary. and stand together when it matters. Master both, and you'll have something almost nobody in this generation has. A man who's at peace in an empty room and impossible to forget in a full one. Be that man.